So what I am really doing in this body efficiency training, or this Tensegrity Tai Chi, is I am training the blood. I'm moving the blood around the body. You see, it's not so much about training the muscles or doing an exercise. All I'm trying to do is get the blood flowing better. Now, you can do hard exercise, strong exercise, really, strengthen yourself up. But if your focus is on moving the blood, that will be more efficient. More blood will get to your muscles, to your tendons, and they will grow, they will be stronger. Now, how do I do this? Well, this is really all about stretching. I'm stretching inside the body, always stretching, opening up the joints. Because when you open up the joints, you're opening up the blood vessels. That's assisting the blood flow. Now, it's interesting that the heart is not really pumping the blood. It's not moving the blood like we think. And we can prove this because the blood goes into the heart at a particular speed, and it comes out of the heart at a very similar speed. So it's going in and coming out at the same speed. It's not really changing it. And then the blood, of course, goes all the way out to the extremities. It stretches out into the little capillaries. But once it reaches the extremities, it slows down and stops. So finally the blood has stopped at the end. Now that's the point when you would need a heart, but there's no heart there. So it's really only moving your body gets the blood moving again from the extremities. And it's a bit more than that really. Of course, the blood itself, there will be capillary action, but it's the movement of the body that moves the blood, or helps to move the blood. And the blood also is electromagnetic. So there will be this sort of electromagnetic effect that moves the blood. And they've noticed it as well. They know, when someone has passed away, the heart has stopped pumping, but the blood is still moving. The blood moves for a while. And in Tai Chi philosophy, Qigong, Taoist exercises, they say that you have the Qi, that's your energy, the Qi. And the Qi moves through the body, and where the Qi goes, the blood will follow. So Qi goes first, blood follows after. It means we can directly control blood flow with the mind. Now we know that emotions, that is mental, spiritual, that is the etheric, that is Qi. When you're emotional, that gets the blood moving. For example, adrenaline, that comes from a situation, it comes from an emotion. Now your heart starts going and the blood starts moving. But that's internal, that comes only from your mind. And you can experiment, just look at your hand for a while, focus on your fingers, and you'll see the blood will go there. Your hand will get a little bit redder. So we can prove this. We know that the blood will follow the Qi. But to me, you see, this is all just energy. It's fluid. Blood is fluid, but the Qi is also fluid. Now, there's a difference because, of course, physical fluids are made of particles. But once you've got a fluid, it behaves like fluid. The Qi, on the other hand, is energy. So energy is just pure fluid, no particles. And it actually applies to all energy. All energy is fluid. Qi is fluid, light is fluid, heat is fluid, electricity is fluid, and even plasma is fluid. These are all just states of energy. No particles involved. However, we do have particles, and we have an interaction of particles and fluid. That's the universe. Particles and energy. But our body is mostly fluid. We are 90% water. If you include the water that makes up the cells. If you separate the cells and the fluid, then we're 70% water. But it means 90% water in total, 10% solid. But what is the solid? Really, the solid is just the structure required to hold the liquid. So we are fundamentally liquid beings, energy beings. That is liquid. And we translate into physical liquid, which is the blood. But of course it's also the water in our body. And we have other fluids, lymphatic fluid. Lymphatic fluid is very interesting. This is the one that detoxes, but it's the one that also creates new blood. And the new blood comes from deep inside the bone marrow. And then it comes out through the body, through the joints. So not only when I move my body to move the blood, stretch open the joints, keep stretching and moving, I'm also activating the lymphatic system. And the lymphatic system, there is no heart. There's no pump. It's a system of fluid, but there's no pump at all. The only thing that will move the lymphatic system is you moving your body. And the lymphatic nodes, the little nodes that you squeeze as you move, and this starts to pump the fluid, they're in the joints. So if I'm always stretching and moving my joints, activating the joint itself, then I'm squeezing and relaxing the lymphatic nodes, and I'm moving the lymphatic fluid. I'm drawing new blood out. So really, it's quite a simple training. When you get the idea. So if I go to the gym and it happens, you don't feel like it, but I know I want to go, I just remind myself, no, you don't have to do anything. All you got to do is get to the gym and move the blood. So that's not working hard. So I might use the machine, but just a lightweight, and I stretch. So I'm always stretching opening up the joints, holding a good posture, and then moving slowly through that with control. So now I'm moving the blood and I'm moving the lymphatic system. And there's more to it than that, of course. Really, when you move the blood like this, you are helping your heart. Your heart is pumping, yes, so it will move the blood. The real purpose of the heart is to magnetize the blood. Okay, this is my theory. But I think this is true. The heart is like an electromagnet. It's a coiled up muscle, and when you have a muscle uses electricity. So when the heart is pumping, you've got an electric current running around the heart. It's electrical. But when you have this circuit of electricity in the muscle, that will create a magnetic field. And that is proven. We know the heart has the most powerful magnetic field. That creates your aura. It's about 6 feet. You can measure it. And that's because you've got electricity pumping around and around. It's an electromagnet. And then the blood will pass through. It's pumping. It's not so much a pump as a pressure regulator. So it's doing something, but it will magnetize the blood as it passes through. And the blood has got to have iron in it. That's why we need a good diet. It's called heme iron. You only find this in animal products. That's the real iron that we need. So we need that in the blood, and as it passes through the heart, it will be magnetized. So now as blood is moving, it will move more efficiently because it is guided by magnetism. It's magnetic. And we've got a magnetic field, and we're moving it. And of course, furthermore, your breathing, that is to oxygenate the blood, but it's also to ionize the oxygen in the blood. We need electrical charge. That we get from the air. So the blood will also hold electrical charge. It's quite literally electromagnetic, the blood. That is energy. That is the chi. So the chi is inside the blood, or rather we want to fill the blood up with chi, energize it. And we do this by using the heart, but remember, we're helping the heart. It's not so much like we really work hard. I don't really do what you would call cardio, just to a degree. But what I do is efficient breathing and moving. Now, it comes from moving the rib cage. When you breathe into the rib cage, you are expanding and contracting the rib cage around the heart. So when you pump the rib cage, you're going to help to pump the heart. Now, mostly people do belly breathing. So belly breathing is down below. You're just using the diaphragm. So normally when we breathe, it happens anyway, the diaphragm goes up and down as you breathe. So diaphragm goes up and down, that makes your belly move in and out. That's belly breathing. And your chest is relatively stationary. But if you think about it, the heart and the lungs are inside the chest. And in fact, the lungs are towards the back. They're in the back of the rib cage. If you breathe towards the back of the rib cage, you're going to be activating the lungs. So when you breathe to the back of the rib cage, this is called bucket breathing. It's not so much belly breathing, it's bucket breathing. And you have to work at it. You see, it means I'm using more muscles to breathe. It's not just the diaphragm, but I'm activating the rib cage, the intercostal muscles, arching the spine back a little bit, pulling the shoulders up and back a little bit, really opening up the rib cage, and then breathing into the back of it. It's connecting to the spine, and when you pump the back of the rib cage, you are assisting the blood in the heart to move, and you're helping it to get oxygenated. It's very, very efficient. Now, in order to do that, you actually have to hold the belly in a little bit. So the belly will still move, but there's a slight tension. Pull the belly in, lifting up the rib cage, lifting up the shoulders, arching a tiny bit back, but remember, pull the belly in tight. If you pull the belly in tight, it forces you to move the rib cage, activate the rib cage on the inhalation. Even the exhalation, you relax. Inhalation, it expands. And when you can do this, you'll feel it. Your breathing is a stretch. So you're breathing by stretching the rib cage, stretching the spine, stretching the shoulders, expanding deep into the skeletal structure. And that is opening up the skeleton, opening up the joints, opening up the blood vessels, and activating stretching the lymphatic system. It's moving all of the fluid in your body. And there's so many different fluids. The hormones of course travel through the blood. They're the most important fluid. They're the ones that really have got the power. There's another chi, a consciousness energy in the hormones. But really we can think of it simply. It's just fluid energy moving through the body. If we can feel the fluid energy, then the fluid, the blood, the water, the lymphatic fluid will also move. And we can feel it. And you train, I practice to get a blood rush. You might go up and down in a squat, nice and slow. Or you stretch and hold it and then relax. And you'll feel a blood rush afterwards. This is highly desirable. I'm actually training to create blood rushes. You see, you can do it with me now. If you lift up one hand, really stretch it open, lift up the rib cage, lift up the shoulder, open it, expand it. And when you arch slightly backwards, you feel it pinching in the middle of the back, between the shoulder blades. This is opposite the sternum. This is an important point. This connects your shoulder blades to your spine, and it's called the assemblage point. It's an energy point, very important. So if you feel that from that point, opening up, stretching, then stretch open your fingers. Really stretch them open, stretch them open. Now feel that stretch, hold it, hold it, hold it. You might start feeling a tingling down your arm. That's the blood moving. It's also electrical currents. When you feel a tingling, that sensation is electrical. And then if you relax now suddenly, just relax for a second, you might feel a little rush of blood. So you do a stretch and a tension and then a relaxation, and you're pumping the blood around your body. You're squeezing the movement of blood. And even easier than that, again, the easiest thing we can do, we can all do this, is once a day, make sure you lift your hands up above your head. Just lift them up. That's all you have to do. And when you lift them up, try and lift up the spine. Stretch up nice and tall. Open the rib cage. Do the bucket breathing. Breathe deep to the back of the ribs. And this helps you to hold the arms up. So it's not the arms, it's the rib cage and the spine holding up. And you pull the belly in tight. Breathe deep to the back of the ribs. Stretch up, stretch up. Try and open your arms and hold them there. Now you can rest, have a breather, but try for 5 minutes a day holding your hands above your head. And then when you drop your hands, relax, you'll feel a rush of blood. But again, just by lifting your hands up, you're changing the blood flow. Even easier than that, 5 minutes a day, put your feet up. Sit on the chair, lift your feet up higher and rest. Let the blood from your feet rush back down. Now also interesting in the Far East, they call your feet your second heart. Because when you walk, you pump your feet and the muscles, the tendons in your feet squeeze and they push the blood back up the legs. You see, gravity will pull your blood down your legs, but when you walk and pump your feet, your toes, you squeeze the blood back up again. So even that, when you walk, use your toes, squeeze your foot, pump the ankle. You're squeezing the blood back up the legs, keeping the circulation going. And of course, you put your feet up again. When you put your feet down again, you get a blood rush. This is all desirable. You want to feel it. And sometimes you get a blood rush to the head. That's the best. Blood rush to the brain. It's refreshing the brain. But of course, be careful, don't faint. You know, if you feel a blood rush to the head, grip your toes on the floor. Sit down tight, squeeze your muscles in the legs. When you squeeze the muscles in the legs, it forces the blood back down again. So instead of fainting, you grip the toes into the floor, blood will go down and you ground yourself again. But that's what we want. We want to move the blood up and down, around the arms and legs, everywhere. That's how we rejuvenate ourselves. But that is the energy, that is the chi. Pure fluid moving around. So we've got fluid, we've got the energy around us, we've got the energy inside us, and we've got fluid inside us. That's the purpose of the training, just training the blood. So I hope this made sense. Thank you so much for listening. Please do leave me any questions or comments, and do check out the whole of this Tensegrity Tai Chi series. Thank you so much again, and I look forward to seeing you in any of these other videos here.